Oh, Canada, what have you got in store for us today? This is Montreal as it stands at the moment. Clouds everywhere, a few blue skies. Rain has fallen and has stopped, but there's more coming in.
4 different winners so far in 2024. Can you be the 5th?
Let's make it.
Go
Yes,
for it.
thank you.
Thanks, George.
At Haas, they're taking a gamble. Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hülkenberg both going on the wets, which, if the rain comes in at the start of the race, could be the best jackpot we've seen outside the casino on the Ile Notre Dame this weekend. Here we go then, it's the 53rd Formula One World Championship Canadian Grand Prix. It's lights out, away we go, and he's almost crawling off the line, George Russell, but he is staying ahead of Max Verstappen. 156 metres down to turn 1, Russell ahead of Verstappen. On the inside, Lando Norris ahead of Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso and Daniel Ricciardo getting a little bit skittish going out of turn 2 and slipping down the inside. I think Lewis Hamilton on Daniel Ricciardo, will find that in a moment. They are struggling for grip here, and already someone has gone off at turn 1 as George Russell leads them through turn 4. The pole sitter has gone away cleanly. The gamble by Haas really paying off. Hülkenberg up to 12th, Magnussen up to 7th. In these conditions, the wet weather tyre performing, but for how much longer? Now you can see the difference between the intermediate tyres and the wet weather tyres. Magnussen just has that more grip. He's dissipating more water through those wet weather tyres. And as we approach the hairpin now, under braking, you can leave it that little bit longer. Should get a better exit, should get Piastri down the straight.
Now, Magnussen's already been told this is the heaviest we expect the rain and the water on the track to be. Start looking after those tyres. So this might be happy hour for the two Haas drivers. He's up into 4.
Kevin Magnussen, good call there, Karun. Kevin Magnussen's coming into the pits.
Yeah, it's the moment to put some intermediates on it. He'll have a bit of a warm-up issue going on, but they will be fresher intermediates, of course, as we're into lap 7. And they weren't ready for him, so that rather scuppered that cunning plan.
0.8 of a second between our race leader and the man in second.
Yeah, so Max will just about be getting into the turbulent air behind the Mercedes, but this is actually more about mechanical grip, isn't it? And confidence. And these two then 7 seconds ahead of Lando Norris, but both McLarens now well into the 1:28. So as the track normalises a little bit, McLaren are hanging on pace-wise, but they're a little bit behind.
George expecting another rain shower 20 minutes from now. Just tell me what you didn't let me to do then. These tires are going to work very quick. Just be careful not to tear the inter.
Again then, Norris homes in, 27.5 for Russell and 26.5 for Lando Norris.
Gap is down to just over 2 seconds as Max Verstappen runs wide into turn 1 and then turn 2. Lost time, might have lost a little bit of bodywork there as well as he went over the grass, and that has kept George Russell, whose heart rate a little more comfortable, but it's put Verstappen right into the clutches now of Lando Norris. Go back on board again with Lando Norris, who looks so cool and so calm in the run-up to this race, and is now at high adrenaline, I'm sure, as he races in these damp conditions and, whoa, tries to stop his car before he goes into the back of Max Verstappen, who's clearly having stopping problems at that hairpin.
Yeah, and even that little left kink can sometimes be a problem. These cars have got enough downforce to squash that out, but here we go, down the back straight, DRS open.
In the dry, this would be an easy move. In the damp, it looked pretty easy, didn't it, for Lando Norris? And he's up into second place. Got a much better exit out of the hairpin, and a round of applause from those in the garage. Russell leads, and it's now Lando Norris with a new fastest lap, chasing him down in second.
Norris will be on him by the end of the lap at this current pace.
In the meantime, Norris is looking down the hairpin. No, he's not.
He was trying not to run into him, I think.
As he did with Max on the previous lap.
The DRS detection point's way before that hairpin, so he's got it anyway. Norris would have it, and here he goes.
Right, 2 laps ago, Lando Norris was 3rd on the previous lap. Lando Norris was 2nd on lap 21. Lando Norris leads, and he's past George Russell, who then goes off. Keeps that 2nd place for now, but Max Verstappen, almost into the back of him, takes that 2nd place from George Russell. He's gone from 1st now down to 3rd.
We got a yellow flag, we got a car in the wall then, exit of turn 4. That could, if he doesn't mirror, is not able to move that will obviously be a safety car, if not even a red flag. Should be able to cover that under a safety car. what would you put on if you came in the pits now? You'd have to put slicks on, I think. It would be the safety car we have.
Safety car. Yeah, I was going to say, because Sargent is stranded in the middle of the track and he can't get the car going again. So the race now gets neutralised. Where's the leaders? Making their way towards the final chicane. And I'm looking now down the pit lane. Lando Norris has stayed out. He didn't get a chance to pit. His pace was so fast. It was about 8 seconds clear of Verstappen, who's pitting, and Russell.
They're all pitting behind him. Look at this. Second, third and fourth. If they can't move that Williams quickly, that might even be a red flag. But was Norris just a bit too far? Had he done too good a job and missed the moment?
You know how the safety car aided Lando Norris?
Intermediates going on the red. Sorry to interrupt. Intermediates on the Red Bull.
And Verstappen gets out, and George Russell is almost racing him towards the end here, with Piastri just a little bit back. It was a 0.4 of a second better pit stop for Russell than Verstappen. It nearly got him second place back again.
Norris pits.
Yes, they've given themselves time, Crofty, to have this conversation. It's been extremely calm. I've been listening to this whole lap between Will Joseph and Lando Norris. He will still come out in the lead because the other cars are following their delta time. And he said, if you think it's going to rain, I need fresh inters. They've waited to see what everyone else does and then made that call.
Is he going to come out into the lead? I don't think he is, you know. That's Max Verstappen going into turn one. He's not coming out into the lead. He's definitely third at best, and maybe behind his teammate Oscar Piastri. Feeds onto the track. He can't overtake Piastri if Norris is on the track. And that saved Lando Norris in third there. Crowd in the grandstands opposite our commentary box have all got onto their feet to see this restart. Lap 29 of 70 will become green flag and racing, and Max Verstappen leading the Canadian Grand Prix, and he's decided to go now. So we're back racing once again. Piastri looks quite close to the back of Lando Norris. George Russell staying in touch with Max Verstappen, but Verstappen cleanly into turn one. Behind the top four comes Lewis Hamilton ahead of Fernando Alonso. Tsunoda, Stroll, Ocon, who hasn't pitted. Tsunoda hasn't either, and then Daniel Ricciardo in 10th. Lewis Hamilton had a crash coming out the pits here once, but that was because Kimi Raikkonen had stopped.
Look at this
and
one.
that is Lando Norris. And Lando Norris having a moment down at turn one, and that has been very costly indeed for him. Along that back straight, Hamilton is within touching distance of Piastri, but hasn't got the opportunity to slip down the inside, and he's coming in for a set of new tyres. Max Verstappen has just said it's too early for slick tyres. Mercedes think it might just be the right time for slick tyres. Hamilton couldn't get past Piastri, so let's see if the strategy can work in his favour. It's the hards that are going on, Martin.
Yeah, they think that's the favoured tyre to get. No, that's the mediums. That's the mediums, but...
are going to react and bring Lando Norris in. Crofty, you know the lap that Lewis Hamilton pulled the trigger on all of this? It was lap 44.
Norris goes round. Norris goes round again.
So Max Verstappen into the pits, George Russell into the pits, McLaren doing the opposite to the other two in the top three, and Lando Norris staying out. They've got the data from Oscar Piastri on the medium tyres to see if it's the right tyre to be on at the moment. They've decided that actually the intermediate tyre is still the right one, and Norris just set the fastest lap. As out onto the racetrack comes Verstappen and George Russell. Norris has got a box.
He's going on medium compound tyres. Verstappen really struggling with warm-up. Cutting the chicane through there, which you're allowed to do as long as you don't cut all the white lines. So this is going to be critical then. No further action for his cutting the first chicane, and that's absolutely right.
Lando Norris stops, medium tyres fitted through the final chicane. Comes Max Verstappen, past our commentary box comes Max Verstappen. You can now see him powering down the main straight. And out of the pit lane comes Lando Norris. This is going to be really, really tight. This is for the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix. Lando Norris is ahead of Max Verstappen, but not for long, because Verstappen has warmer tyres, has the grip, and gets the acceleration to get the lead of the race. It was so tight, and definitely worth a gamble, because Norris is now in second place, but the lead he's going to have to earn on the track.
We have seen graining. The top, he's locked up and gone wide. There will be no space in there for Russell, but he'll get a good exit.
And this is where George Russell has got to try and take every single opportunity to get back into the top two, and he is doing that bit by bit with DRS assistance. George Russell goes back into second place at the expense of Lando Norris, who's now got his teammate Oscar Piastri fighting him. Fernando Alonso also on the hard time. Oh, and that's George
really
Russell.
Wide. Hit the curb.
Yeah, another holy moly moment for George Russell. This one is costly. Lando Norris is back in second place, and Russell's going to have to try again. And there we've got Alex Albon against the wall. Carlos Sainz spinning around in the grass. And I told you that there's still a bit of jeopardy to go in this race.
Last time around, he went off the right off the last corner. Will he do a different strategy this time? And no, he's gone.
Cat or Dutch Lion, he has gone. Max Verstappen survived one safety car restart, and he's survived this one too. And Lando Norris is nicely ahead of Oscar Piastri, and George Russell nicely ahead of his teammate Lewis Hamilton. Fernando Alonso looks a little bit closer, and Lance Stroll is under a little bit of pressure, but not too much, from Yuki Tsunoda.
McLaren desperately need Piastri to keep Russell behind him, but Russell got a tremendous run out of the hairpin, down the straight, they're neck and neck into the final corner.
This is going to be very tight indeed. Piastri is a car length ahead. George Russell just has to back out. He tried to make the move into the hairpin, and he tried to make the move all the way down that back straight, and Piastri has done a super job to hold on to that third place. Is Oscar Piastri, now I think he's lost DRS here, Oscar Piastri, and I think that's problem that is George Russell is about to become very problematic indeed. Piastri hasn't got DRS, George Russell has. It's an extra piece of weaponry that Russell is putting to good use, as into the chicane they go, and there's contact between Russell and Piastri. And Piastri stays ahead, and George Russell has to back out, and he really went for it, but he's now lost a place to his teammate Lewis Hamilton. Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton behind Oscar Piastri is trying to break the toe. Now, the last time a Mercedes tried to get past Oscar Piastri here, it did not end well. This is going to end better for the Mercedes, though. Hamilton into the top three, and now on for an 11th podium in Montreal. He gets past Piastri there with ease. Question is, can Hamilton get closer to Lando Norris? And on that lap, Martin Brundle, he was a second faster.
I haven't heard a phone call yet from Mercedes to call off this battle. George Russell piling the pressure on as they get into the DRS zone, Crofty, heading down towards the chicane. Only 4 tenths between them.
Hamilton hasn't got DRS. George Russell has. It's not hold stations at Mercedes. George Russell squeezes down the inside on Lewis Hamilton.
That goes without saying. Keep it clean, please.
And he did keep it clean, but Hamilton is coming back at him as well. Russell holds on to that third place. Hamilton has to settle for fourth for this lap. He'll get DRS, I would imagine, on the back straight next time around, but there's no hold stations down at Mercedes. It's Max Verstappen, pole and win here in 22, pole and win in 23. It wasn't pole in 24, but it's the win nonetheless, and it's a hat-trick of wins from Max Verstappen in Montreal. He wins the Canadian Grand Prix. Lando Norris and George Russell complete the podium. Lewis Hamilton sets the fastest lap on the final lap, but it wasn't good enough for the top three. Oscar Piastri misses out and completes the top 5.